I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance.
Good morning, everyone. You have to say, either way you say it, it sounds very good. It's a lovely name, a lovely product from a beautiful part of the world. They are famed for their special springs that have healing benefits. So Roche-Posay comes from a very specific scientific location, happening to have a beautiful name. And I'm honored to be as part of a representation of this product because science-based care is the way we are going nowadays. We are very lucky to have products of this caliber available on the shelf because it does breach into that medical foundation that we treat a lot of big conditions that we hear about very commonly. So today the focus is about hyperpigmentation. It's a very common issue affecting up to 50% of people. I'm sure most of you here have had some issue of a dark spot on the skin or pigmentation after acne or, even just darker skin issues when, after a summer holiday or when in the sun for too long. So it's an issue that, gets to the heart of a lot of people. And some people think, well, why is it such a big deal? Well, you often see a lot of people hiding away. When there's spots on the face or there's something we don't want, we hide the skin, we cover it with hair, we cover it with fabric. We don't want to be in the photos. There's a lot of stigmatization when it comes to pigmentation. So it's a very important issue for many reasons to treat effectively. So just a quick highlight as to how pigmentation happens on the skin. It's quite a complex scientific process, but I don't want to get into too much detail. But it's a multi-step process that happens almost like a multi-story building where everything sort of brews in the basement, gets bigger, gets more flooded with this pigmented globule called melanosomes. These push up and up and up to the top layers, where eventually at roof level, what we see from the surface are blotchy dark marks. All right, so it's got to do with the development of pigment, the transfer of pigment, and then of course what we're seeing on the surface if it doesn't get exfoliated off the skin. Now the reason that's important to have an idea is because when we're treating pigmentation, and a lot of you might have gone to the GP or to the dermatologist, I see this very commonly on a weekly basis where people are worried about their spots. You'll find that the treatment is not singular. It's not one magic that works for everyone in the same way. And it's often a fight that we do over time, often incorporating many different facets to target all of those individual little spaces of events that are going on, to cause pigmentation. Of course, now, talking about pigmentation, I have to bring the sun into this because most cases are from that culprit, which is the sun. A few decades ago, everyone was all about tanning, being in the sun, summer holidays must show on the skin. We don't like that at all anymore because the sun actually causes a lot of inflammation. Inflammation causes pigment to become more and more intense and less likely to resolve. And every day we are then exposed to this vicious cycle that causes these active radicals in the skin that cause damage as we go. So it's an ongoing issue and we have to protect from the sun in order to even think about how to treat pigmentation. So before I get into the sunscreen side of things, which a lot of people might think they know a lot about it, but it's actually not so well established that everyone knows, for example, what ingredients to look for in sunscreen, how to apply, how much to apply. There are little details that make a difference to the day-to-day sun care of the skin. But before getting onto that, we have to look at this new revolutionary target for hyperpigmentation on the skin, and that's also from the Roche-Posay called Mela or Mela B3. It is the new purple serum and the purple range that's come out. That single-handedly targets every step of the process of pigmentation after this recent patented 18-year study that has just come out. So Melasil is the enzyme that they have found comparative to all the treatments we normally use to be consistently very effective against pigmentation. In addition to that, there's hyaluronic acid in it. There are anti-inflammatories in the form of niacinamide, which I'm sure you've all have heard of niacinamide being a target for dark spots. And of course, we also have antioxidants, which are important for keeping our skin young and also for targeting those damaging little molecules that are sitting in our skin, causing damage every day. So Melasil, in conjunction with sunscreen, becomes one of those combined treatment modalities that we can literally pick off a shelf and sort our pigmentation out as a multifaceted approach. That's why the topic of this discussion is actually called the power duo, because firstly, we want to target the origin of the problem of pigmentation. We want to help the transfer of the pigment to phase out and to exfoliate on the surface, but we won't get anywhere if we do not protect from the beginning. Now, getting into sunscreen, which is a huge topic of discussion for derm, not only for pigmentation, but for photoaging, for skin cancers, as well as changes of the texture and quality of our skins over time. We need to know about this, and everyone, regardless of skin type, need to be using a sunscreen every single day. But it doesn't help using a sunscreen following all the rules that we're constantly telling people about when we don't know if we're using the right product and how we are using it correctly. So looking at this as an example called Antelios UV Immune 400, this covers a multifaceted scope of wavelengths that constantly are coming from the sun and attacking our skins. You've probably heard of the UV radiation being a big issue on the skin. That's UVA and UVB primarily for our protection purposes. Now, what UVA does is that it doesn't penetrate deeply into the skin. It's the type of sun rays that will sit on the surface of the skin, but it will cause sunburn when we are in the sun for too long. And it also, over time, will contribute to the formation of certain skin cancers. UVA, however, is a big one because that is there. We don't see it. It goes through car windows. It goes through the clouds. It is there every day of the year, whether rain or shine or snow or whatever, even if you're sitting indoors. A lot of my patients say, you know what, I'm sitting indoors all day. I work from home. I'm not in the sun. I'm not going to use sunscreen. But the truth is you're probably sitting at a window and you're probably going to go out to take the post from the mailbox, or you're going to go drop your kids off at school. There is always sun finding us, even though we are not always looking for it. Okay, so UVA is important because that penetrates into the deep layers of skin without us even realizing it. And when something goes deep into that second layer of skin, or even sometimes towards that fatty layer of skin, going all the way through like a laser, you can imagine that that's going to cause damage on the cells. It's going to affect the immune protection that the skin offers us every day. And also it will affect the DNA, and that causes the chances of people getting cancers. Skin cancers affect everyone. Melanoma affects all skin types. There's just different variants that tend to affect different skins more commonly. So that's very important. You want UVA coverage as well as a good UVB coverage. Now, the benefit of this specifically to other comparative sunscreens of UVA coverage is that it extends the wavelength from a number that's 380 to 400. Now, that doesn't seem like a big stretch in terms of numerical, but that covers the entire UVA scope instead of just cutting it short. And that extra little bit conveys up to 30% of sun exposure that catches us every day. So essentially, that extra little bit is probably been causing skin cancers in patients, even though they were using sunscreen for all the years until we could get that full coverage happening. So that is a unique benefit of using something that covers up to 400. And the name of that ingredient is called Meroxyl 400. It's a new patented ingredient. Part of the Mela and Antelios is that there are innovations in dermatology. We are very excited about it because for many years, everything has kind of stayed the same. You know, pigmentation, you'd have to go to the derm or the GP, get some heavy medicated treatments that you find will help a little bit, but now it's not consistent, it becomes very expensive, and also you become dependent on this forever, and you have to do it in a stepwise approach. Whereas having something you can try at home with some guidance from, you know, just getting it off the shelf and hearing about it is actually the easier way, and it's a good start towards the battle against pigmentation. But it's always important to try and prevent before we have to now run after these issues. Other ways to prevent from sun, of course, is not just from sunscreen. Try and find the shade wherever you go. I know it sounds silly because you can't always find the shade, but or then create a shade for yourself. Big sun hats can be very trendy. We want them to be trendy. So everyone can wear a sun hat with a wide brim wherever they go. And already nowadays, more people are wearing long sleeves or those special sleeves to protect against the sun when they're at the beach or, you know, watching a cricket match or whatever it is. So there are always elements besides just using sunscreens and running after complications just to help as early as we can, because it's never too late. A lot of my patients say, oh no, the damage is done, you know, I'm struggling every year, there are big issues. It's never too late to stop that process of sun damage. And that is the big take-home message, that have good UVA and UVB coverage. use a sunscreen every single day. And in terms of looking at how to use sunscreen every day, yes, morning use, I tell patients, when brushing your teeth, a quick little add-on step. It takes a few seconds. That will be your initiating sunscreen application. And then look towards midday, if you're in the sun throughout the day, midday, and then mid-afternoon. So the question is now, looking at the sun protection factor, the SPF, how does that contribute to our thought process of how to reapply? Well, we always look at the baseline. If you don't wear any sunscreen, it will take about 10 minutes to develop a sunburn. So if there's a factor 15, for example, which used to be trendy at some point, we just times it by 10, and then we look at the number of minutes that it would take while using an SPF 15, how long it would take you before reapplication to get a sunburn. So the same with 50, SPF 50, times it by 10 minutes for that sunburn baseline, it's 500 minutes. So you see how much longer it lasts you before you need to reapply. So that's just a general guideline. It doesn't mean if something is an SPF 30 versus 50 that it's poorer or suboptimum or it doesn't protect you. It just means you have to do a calculation to know at this time of day, I know I need to reapply it. All right, but the general rule for reapplication, so that not everyone is doing maths all day, is to reapply every 2 hours. Okay, that is the general idea that we like to push. This constant use of sunscreen, there's an overlap protection throughout the day, and you can be reassured that the chances of getting new sun-related damage is going to be minimized significantly. So something that we've known about for many years actually ends up to be a big gem in your skincare every day. In addition to that, sunscreen also conveys some hydration of the skin. It actually takes care of other steps of your skincare process, which we know is hydration. It helps the barrier of our skin be a little bit more robust, and it sometimes provides a glow that we want. Keeping in mind, though, that some people don't want shiny-looking face, and people are now worried. If I use sunscreen every day, am I not going to get acne? Is it not too shiny? Is it not too greasy? These are all the things that hold people back from sunscreen, are those traditional thoughts that, oh, this is now for when I'm going to swim in the sea. It's going to be this thick layer of stuff. I don't want to smell. I don't want to feel it on my skin. But fortunately, products like this have taken those things into account, in that there is a mattifying option that will mattify your skin instead of leaving a shine. There's obviously the hydrating option that does provide a bit of a glow to patients who need that. And there's a lot of patients who actually prefer to have that moisturized look. And of course, when it comes to looking at the other benefits, you want something that's going to resist sweat and runoff. You want it to be effective even when we are sweating. When we are swimming in the sea and coming out, we want to be sure that while we were swimming, the sunscreen wasn't washing off. And also sand-proof. All right, so these are the extra benefits that Antelios specifically has looked at in the detail of the construction of the sunscreen. In addition to that, a lot of sports people, are nervous about runoff into the eyes, stinging into the eyes, and this has something called net lock technology, which sticks to where you apply it. So there isn't this runoff into the eyes for people playing sports, wearing helmets, and then obviously it's an issue that way. So comfort is essential in what we are saying about sunscreen. It doesn't have to be this enforced, terrible, horrible acne-causing issue. There's a sunscreen for everyone, and the big question is, which is the right sunscreen to use? The one is the sunscreen that you are most comfortable with. And fortunately, there's a range of options these days that everyone will find the one that they will stick with and hopefully stick with for life. There's no reason to ever change to a trendier thing or to something that's new next year if you are happy with your sun protection factor. If you like an SPF 30 that works well and you're happy to reapply, that is excellent. And even more so, a lot of sunscreens are integrated into skincare these days. So your moisturizing cream, such as Mela B3, which is for pigmentation, has got, it's a cream version, but it has got SPF in it. And these are all benefits that we are pushing for in dermatology. Sun protection is a huge topic of discussion. So are there questions that anyone has so far? All right. What does that say? Sorry? Product friendly for kids, very, very good question. So, of course, in the first 6 months to a year, the idea is to try and avoid sun as much as possible. However, even with the stroller, kids are going to catch the sun. Roche-Posay has a specific baby-friendly sunscreen that is from neonates upwards. So it's an SPF 50 from birth, essentially, that is not going to irritate the skin. The development of these products have been such that they have formulated them on a huge population group, and irritation has been very low, even with young or sensitive skins. So that is an excellent option, but you would obviously find the product that is the pediatric version of the Antelios, but there is a huge range even for neonates and young kids.
How do we deal with the white?
The white cast. That's a very good question. So another thing is that sunscreen has to cover all skin types, and that's what we are trying to push for. Fortunately, the fluid, the Antelios fluid, has got such a watery texture that it literally absorbs into the skin without leaving a layer of cream. So this is excellent for all skin types. I prescribe it for all my patients because I know regardless of pale skin versus darker skin, I even have patients testing it out to prove that this is not going to leave a sheen, because people are very doubtful, because usually even good quality sunscreens that we all know have got that issue. And of course, we have to incorporate everyone into skincare, and it's the nature of the product being a fluid that actually helps with that absorption. It doesn't have any tint in it. Obviously, tint becomes a whole different selection of options, which will be more tricky because you have to find a tint that works for you. But as a standard base of fluid sunscreen, this doesn't leave a cast. Mineral sunscreens you will find are more problematic that way. So mineral sunscreens are different to your sunscreens that get absorbed because they sit on the surface to reflect the sun directly. But I wouldn't recommend it for darker skins because it leaves this cast effect on the face, and nobody wants that day to day. How do we treat hyperpigmentation? Oh, no. Okay. Same sunscreen for body and face? Good question. The answer is yes, you can. So usually for something like Antelios, for example, the formulations are standardized in a lot of different shapes and forms. Of course, a small fluid that you can see as part of the range, it usually comes in a little canister. I don't tell patients to use it on the whole body because you would need quite a lot of it, and it doesn't spread as much as a cream for moisturizing. The skin on the face is different to the skin on the body. So you have to sort of provide that a bit of a different formulation. The bigger tubs or tubes of cream go a long way on arms and legs, but the formulation is exactly the same. So for example, the fluid is very effective for face and neck. You would use 2 index finger lengths as an indication for face and neckline. There's no harm in using the same amount per limb, and then 1 for chest, 1 for back, but you see it becomes quite a bit out of a small little canister. So I would say the bigger containers, same formulation, are extra hydrating for the body skin in a different way, which you wouldn't really want on the face necessarily, but definitely it's all SPF 50, all same quality care. So yes, absolutely.
I see you want to ask a lot of questions because you get prizes for asking questions now.
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys, we have 40 seconds and then we ask the big question. Another question?
Ooh, okay, it's becoming a bit...
You asked the question already? Oh, ask away. Wait. Yeah.
Can I use it if I have acne-prone skin?
Yes, absolutely. You actually should use it for acne-prone skin specifically, because the problem with acne often is the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and that gets fueled by the sun. So the sun will sit on these inflamed areas. They will create more oxidative damage and more prominent dark spots left behind. So actually part of the management of acne is protecting from the sun. Obviously, there is that idea that now a sunscreen will block the pores and cause pimples to happen. Obviously, some sunscreens do that, especially the older generations, but lighter formulations, especially the fluid and the mattifying fluid, will leave your skin not feeling oily. It's not adding an extra layer on the top, and it's actually promoted as a treatment for acne, because as you treat the acne, you're getting rid of that development of pigment at the same time. So you want acne gone, but you also don't want to sit with the spots for years after that. So absolutely, yes, it's a must.
Okay, I've spoken to the brand, and they agree that everyone can get one who's sitting here. So now you don't have to force a question, all of you. Now, let's ask for the big... Wait, no, don't worry. Okay. We have to get this one done because
Yes.
time is up. What's the question? What's the big question for here?
All right, so it's going to be a bit of a tricky question, but you're a smart crowd, so I think everyone's going to be jumping on the stage. So the question is, which 5 key factors or key points have you learned from the discussion today?
Wait, it has to be 5. Eh? We can't be doing 4.5 or 2 out of 5. Go ahead, no, you can't give it. They must pick who.
Oh, no.
What's the lady over there? Okay, Sissy, no pressure. This is worth 3,000 rand. I want 5. I want 5. I don't want 1. I don't want 2. I don't want 3. I don't want 4. I want 5.
I learned that hyperpigmentation happens on multi-levels. It happens because of melanin.
She wrote it down. You.
Very good.
Skin also gets darker because we don't exfoliate.
Yes, girl.
There's melasyl enzyme, which is used for hyperpigmentation.
Yes, girl.
Niacinamide, and it has netlock technology, so it's...
Yes, girl. Wait.
Wow.
Wait. Was that 5?
That was good, yes.
Was that 5?
It was 5.
Okay, why did you write it down? Tell us why.
I want to the package.
How do you know that was going to be the question?
I want to the package.
Okay, winner, 3,000 rand worth. All right, everyone gets one of these. Thank you so much, Doc. Doc, one more thing.
Yes.
For me, I'm a dark-skinned brother.
Yes.
I like to wear sunscreen, but
Yes.
I hate sunscreen that makes me look like I'm a mlungu.
Yeah.
Does your sunscreen make me look like I'm a mlungu?
No.
Or does it make me look like I'm a dark and lovely brother?
Absolutely not. It will give you your natural glow of your skin.
Okay.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay,
The perfect solution.
Say the name of the brand again.
It's Antelios. The one you guys are going to get is called Invisible Fluid, and it's because it is. When you put it on, it literally gets absorbed. It's no mess, no fuss. Once you guys try it, I know you will love it. None of my patients ever change to anything else once they've tried it because of the ease of use and the lightness of it. So yeah, enjoy.
I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around now and dance, dance, dance. I just wanna have fun, clap my hands.